Welcome to How to Continues, episode 141, a weekly podcast posted up every Monday in which we talk about video games and related topics. How to Continues is a member of the Tech Podcast Network at techpodcast.com. I'm your host, Stafa, and with me today is Kevin.
Hello, Stafa. How are you?
All right. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thanks for being on the show.
I'm always glad to be on the show.
Thanks for not, texting me earlier today and saying, hey, I can't make it. How about you get these other people on the show instead?
I would never do that to you, Stafa.
I'm glad. I appreciate that. You're a jolly good fellow.
All right.
So, anyways, if this is your first time listening to the show or watching on YouTube, which can be found on youtube.com/addict-continues. As I mentioned, I'm your host, Stafa. I have different people on the show with me each week. We just talk about video games for a couple hours, what we've been playing, things that's, been going on in the gaming news, and, hot topics, retro stuff, whatever.
Yep.
Just different things. As I mentioned before, the episodes go up on Monday on addict-continues.com as an MP3. Or, if you want to get a little early, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel because the video goes up about an hour or two after we record, and we record this a few days before I put it up on Monday. We don't record the same day each week, but it just goes up earlier on YouTube. But it's a little bit more convenient on MP3 since you could listen to it wherever you are.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Listen to it while I'm at work.
So, anyways, this week's segments will include what have we been playing, a couple of quick announcements. Our main topic is going to be it's a special one this week. We're going to be answering Reddit. And it's not live Reddit questions, but we'll get to that later.
You should do an AMA at some point.
I think only like 2 people will ask questions, and one of them will be me.
Answer your own questions.
After that, we got a couple of news topics. Not too much. We want to keep this episode a little shorter than usual.
The Power Hour.
Yeah, the power. No, it's not gonna be an hour. The MMA hour.
MMA.
Yep. And then after that, we got listener feed. We actually got 2 listener feedbacks.
Yeah, I was
this
looking at
week.
that. It's really good.
Well, it would be. I guess it's 3 because Tim wrote in twice because he just missed last week like by a few hours. Like he emailed me right after I finished recording, and then I was like, okay, this will go on next week's episode. And then he emailed me again, so I'll count that as 2 separate emails.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we've got 3 listener feedbacks this week. So, anyways, let's get going with what have you been playing?
So I've been playing a game that just came out yesterday. Actually, it's 25th. Yeah. So it came out yesterday. It's called Darkwood. It's a survival horror roguelike, and it's still in early access on Steam, but it was just released yesterday, and I haven't gotten very far in it, so I'm not gonna be able to talk too much about it. But it was either on Kickstarter. Yeah, I think it was a Kickstarter game, or you had the opportunity of like backing them somewhere. It was either on their own website or Kickstarter. I can't remember. It was a while ago. But the horror is based off of like Lovecraftian style.
Oh, that's why you're into it then.
Yeah.
You want like that whole Cthulhu experience.
Yeah, so I mean, if you've played Amnesia or like the Call of Cthulhu game or anything that's that style, you kind of have a sense of the type of dark horror and there's just that mood that game sets. So it's very dark, both physically and figuratively, and it's a top-down view game, so it's not like Amnesia where everything's right up in your face when you're interacting like in a first-person view. But it is still pretty creepy. Just the whole atmosphere of the game is pretty cool.
Like the creepy uncle type of creepy.
No, this is like Amnesia creepy.
Oh,
like,
okay.
True to Lovecraft creepy. So I mean, there are even though like I was saying, it's not first person, but I've jumped a few times. So it's still pretty creepy and it's nice and scary. And it's a roguelike with some survival elements in there. You got a little bit of a crafting system in there, and yeah, I don't have much to talk about it other than that because it just came out yesterday. I've put in maybe an hour into the game.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I really haven't been playing much. How about you, Staffa? What have you been playing?
I did get to play the latest episode of Walking Dead.
I need to do that.
Do you even own season 2?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I saw it downloading, and I was like, ooh, I should play that. And then I started playing Darkwood while it was downloading and completely forgot.
I liked this episode. It was pretty good. I saved everybody.
Nice.
I did all the right choices. And there's no more zombies.
Oh, man, you saved the world.
I saved the world. I did all the right choices. All the right choices.
Good.
No, if you played Walking Dead, you can't. There's no way you believe any of that stuff. I did what I thought was all the right choices, but there's no way you can save everybody.
Yeah, that's kind of like scripted into the game. Someone's gonna die.
But yeah, it was good. I mean, like, I saw the IGN review. They gave a low score, like 6 out of 10, and I liked it though.
Was it just not as, I guess,
like one of the cons that they said in the IGN review was that it had throwaway deaths. Like it was like, oh, people die just for the sake of thinning out the group because it's getting too big. I was like, I didn't think they're throwaway.
Interesting.
I mean, I thought the theme, or at least the theme that I picked up from it, was depression, because some of the characters were really depressed, and you're trying to help them, or at least I was trying to help them with it.
Yeah.
And that was it was a very interesting theme that it was something that they didn't really weigh in that much on in the previous episodes. I mean, they did a little bit in season 1 with Kenny and his family, and then but they did a lot more of the whole depression thing in this one. So I thought it was very interesting. I really liked the episode, and I'm anticipating this finale.
Yeah, because that's what it is, right? It's the 4th episode.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, I've been playing a lot of Magic 2015.
Yep, that's very much like you, Staffa.
you asked me a little bit about it earlier, and I did tell you a little bit about it. But now I've really I've gone through the multiplayer. I've unlocked all the cards. Did I just say I gone through the single player, and I unlocked all through the card.
I didn't know that there was a limited multiplayer.
Yeah, I unlocked all the cards through the single player, and I feel like I have a more solid opinion on the game now.
All right.
The whole thing with Magic 2015 that's different from the previous Duels of the Planeswalkers games is this game does not have like pre-made decks. Well, it does, but it has like a whole pool of like 300 cards, and it's like, okay, make whatever deck you want with these cards.
Interesting.
And that's the whole like thing that they were hyping up. They were hyping this up a lot. That like, this is the Magic game you've been wanting. You can make decks.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the appeal of that because I mean, isn't that like the big appeal for physical Magic too? Is building decks.
Yeah, I mean, like in the previous games, you'd have these pre-made decks, and there was some customization to those decks because it's like, okay, you have all these cards, and you can customize. You can take out whatever you want. Or you can be a dummy and have a hundo stack. But people don't play Magic. It's not very smart to have 100 cards in your stack.
Nope. Not at all. Unless you're playing
for funsies.
Yeah, I guess. Just to try it out.
But yeah, so that's the previous games that you'd have like just a set limit for each deck. This game, it's like when you start the campaign, it lets you choose a color, and then after that, it will have you choose pretty much a second color, but it doesn't straight up say what's the second color you want. It'll say, okay. For example, if you want black to be your first color, after you select that color, it will give you like the different combinations with black. Like use your black cards with green cards to reanimate things and da 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 da. So that's basically a black and green deck.
Yeah.
Or another one would be like use your black cards and blue cards to draw and da 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 da. So that's a black and blue.
I see. So, but does it give you all the colors available as your second option, or does it limit you?
It pretty much, it seems like it has all the colors.
Okay.
Because there's 5 options after you do that first selection. So pretty much you have to have a dual colored deck starting off.
I see.
In the campaign, and then like you're able to switch before you finish that first test, like boss fight thing.
Yeah.
Like if you cannot beat that first boss, you're like, okay, I'll just switch to a different one. But then after you beat that boss, you cannot switch anymore. You have to stick with those colors and pretty much unlock from there on out.
Interesting.
And then, as you begin unlocking all the cards, you can go into the create a deck mode, and it will like either the options can be like either create your own deck from scratch, or it'll give you like those pre-made ones that I was listing off earlier.
Yeah.
But there's more appearing as you unlock more cards.
I see. When you unlock cards, does it only unlock the cards with the colors that you picked in the beginning, or do you unlock other colors as well, and then can you start building like a 3-color deck?
So at first, when you select those colors, those are the cards you have unlocked initially. After that, you go against each opponent, the AI opponents, and then it will give you a booster pack. And then that booster pack will have 10 cards in it of random.
Okay. So you do get other colors as well.
Yes.
Okay. I see.
It is really fun and satisfying to go through the game, unlocking cards, seeing which cards you're going to get next. It's like, oh man, this is going to be awesome. What do I got? I mean, it's just as fun to open booster packs in this game as it is in
real life.
Except you pretty much have an idea of what cards you might be getting because each chapter in the game has different cards.
Yeah.
Like this specific card's going to be in this chapter. And you can go into your card collection in the main menu and look at every single card, and the ones that are in black and white, that are not in color, those are the ones you haven't unlocked yet. And then you can it'll tell you which chapter you can unlock it in. So I mean, that's pretty much it as far as the campaign goes. You just unlock as it goes. The game, if you buy the $10 base game, which is only $10 on PC and consoles, on mobile devices it's free. The game is free to play because yeah, I don't know, but if you just buy the $10 base game, you have nothing unlocked. If you buy the $35 complete collection, it is misleading because it's not complete.
Interesting.
It is. It has pretty much all the cards from the campaign unlocked, but there are $28 worth of booster packs because each booster is $2 each, and these are premium booster packs.
I see.
Of premium cards that you cannot unlock in the game, and a lot of them pretty awesome. But you can go make awesome decks without them.
Yeah.
But some of these cards are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And so there's 14 premium boosters that you can purchase.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot purchase more because once you have unlocked everything, you can't
Yeah.
keep going. And yeah, so that it gave me one premium booster because it said thank you for owning Magic 2014.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, hey, thanks for owning Magic 2014. Here's a premium booster. So for me, I'd only have to buy 13 booster packs, so that's $26.
Yeah.
So if you want to unlock everything and keep the budget as low as possible, you'd be spending $38 because you'd be spending 10 on the game and then 28 on the premium boosters.
I see.
And then unlock everything yourself through the campaign.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like hearing some mostly negative things about it so far, and I know you mentioned that there's no like two-headed giant. There's no.
Yeah, which is I think that is a real bummer.
Yeah.
Because me and my friend Adam, we would play Two-Headed Giant a lot with 2014.
Yeah.
And it would be really fun to play Two-Headed Giant with this.
Yeah.
But it's not happening. At least not yet. They said it might be a possibility in the future, but not right now. It's like, well, that's lame.
I don't see why they didn't include that. It seems like a basic, like a almost fundamental aspect of the
They
game.
said something like it was a niche mode that wasn't played by many people. But
I think that's
like
false.
I saw a lot of comments and people like, I only play Two-Headed Giant.
Yeah.
It's like I only play this with my friend against the AI Two-Headed Giant.
I wonder if they just were developing a new engine and then got lazy with the development.
Speaking of which, now let me really get into the negatives of this game. Like, okay, first of all, mana tapping. They must have had like this dude who worked at Stainless. Let's call him Tim. I don't know what his name is. He must have been a master at making the AI mana tapping. Because when you tap when you play a card, it will highlight the mana it's going to tap, and then you can press a button to cycle through. It's like, okay, I don't want it to tap like that. I want to tap these other mana instead. So you can press the button, but usually it will highlight the best choice right off the bat. Okay, usually it would in the previous games, like at least in 2014, it usually would highlight the best choice at first. Maybe every once in a blue moon, like, oh no, I don't want to tap like that.
Yeah.
Now, in 2015, Tim must have got fired because like 9 times out of 10, I play a card without like looking at the mana first, and then it taps all the wrong ones, and I'm like, why would you tap that way? How come you would let all my black mana, not tapped when I have no black cards to play? I could have played 2 cards. It would do something insane like that.
So you can't you can't pick anymore. Like
you can, but like I'm just so used to just playing the card.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is your first Duels of the Planeswalker game that you're playing, maybe this will not be a problem because you're not used to just playing a card immediately. You'll probably be like, okay, let me tap the mana first, select which mana I want to tap, and then I'll play the card. Since I've been playing so much in 2014, it's like, whoop, oh no, why'd you do that? What? I can only play 1 card now. Why did you tap it that way?
Oh man.
It's insane. That's one problem. The mana tapping, terrible.
Yeah.
Another problem, the AI. I feel like the AI gives up sometimes because like I'm whooping on the AI and then it would like put an aura on my creature that helps it out. It's like it just gave my creature +3 attack and first strike. Why did it do that?
It's probably like, just kill me now. Just get it over with.
That's what I feel like. Like I'm just smashing the AI, and it's like I give up. It's It's like, come on now, at least try.
Yeah, it almost seems like. Is it usually when it has no other cards left to play and it just wants to play a card?
I don't know. Like, I mean, it hasn't done it too often. I think it's done it like 2 or 3 times. But still, like the fact that it's even done it, it's like, why is the AI doing this? That's not right.
Yeah.
It should go till the bitter end.
Yeah.
Another thing that bugs me about the game is that a lot of the AI will be using cards that you cannot unlock, that you cannot play at all.
Weird.
Like the cards are programmed into the game, and
but you just can't have them.
you cannot have them. It's like, those cards are awesome. Why can I not play them? Like, for example, practically all the Planeswalkers from 2014, like when you go against them, like a Johnny and Liliana and Jace and Nisa, when you go against them, their decks are almost the same as their decks that were in 2014, except slightly. They changed a few things around, like gave them a few different cards, but for the most part, their cards are mostly the same as what they were from 2014, and like 90% of those cards you cannot play.
That's really weird.
It is.
It's annoying. That
It
they
is.
They take the effort to put those in the game, but then not give you the chance to ever get them.
I mean, I'm only assuming that they are going to charge us for them later on, because they straight up said they're going to be selling more premium boosters in the future.
Sense.
That's the only it's annoying. Like, why are they doing this? But like, I guess one good thing about one good change about going against the AI is when you do a practice duel against the AI, it will also, like, if you put on random, it will sometimes choose one of your decks, which I think that's kind of cool. You know, so you can be going against one of your own decks and see how good your own deck is.
That is actually pretty cool.
Or, I mean, you don't even need to put on random. You can straight up select one of your decks and just go against it.
I like that. That's a good way of testing your own decisions, I guess.
Yeah. You know, if you're having a hard time against your own deck, then maybe it is a good deck.
Yeah.
Or if you can easily, stop it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I don't know. I want to like this game because it's just cool making your own decks. But what did they do?
Yeah.
Why did they? Oh, I feel like there's much more cons than there's pros with this game.
That's kind of the vibe that I was getting just based off of like reviews that I'd read and people talking about it on Reddit and stuff.
And they hyped this game so much too. Like this Duels of the Planeswalker game had way more hype and advertising behind it than any of the previous ones that I've seen. You know, like all the other ones, they usually just come out and there's like no trailers or anything for it. And this one, there's trailers, a lot of build up, there's a lot of hype, and I think they were pretty much trying to compete with Hearthstone.
I think here's what the issue was. They knew that the game was not going to be successful, so they increased hype so that people would buy it.
Oh, I don't know how I almost forgot. The menu system. Terrible. Terrible menu system. Like, the menu system for 2013 was junk, and then they improved it in 2014, and you have like everything listed right there, right in front of your face. You could click on it, perfectly fine. Now they pretty much went back to how it was in 2013 and like made each menu selection an image, and you have to like scroll through the image.
Oh, I hate that.
And so it's pretty much set up for either
it's mobile,
touch screen or gamepad, or I guess you could use keyboard as well. But if you use mouse, you gotta click and drag, or
you actually have to drag.
Click and drag, or use the mouse wheel.
Oh my god.
Which, why do they do that? It's so dumb. On top of that, they spent too much time trying to make the game look pretty, because the game, it does look cool, but the animations take so long that I'm over there like, okay, the start screen comes up. It says press start. And I'm using gamepad because the fact that
It was designed for it.
yeah,
now.
it's easier to navigate through the menus this
Yeah.
way. So I'm using gamepad. I'm pressing A. Even though it says press start, you can press A instead.
Yeah.
So I'm pressing A, and you hear the sound, and it's like taking so long. So I'm pressing it, and then finally it like transitions because it's waiting for the animation to finish. It's waiting for this whole fade in and fade out to finish. And then I'm waiting. I'm like, come on now. So then I select something on the menu, and then like everything's moving around. And it's like, seriously, guys, just show me a menu. Like, I mean, I don't mean like make it ugly like Magic Online, but like Magic 2014 was fine. It had a simple menu. Just click on the stuff, get going, and that's it. You don't need to have these stupid transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything has to fade in and fade out. It takes so long. I'm constantly pressing A during the menus just because, like, I'm waiting for the transitions to end.
Yeah.
And, like, the fade in and fade out is so ridiculous that... and it takes so long.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you how ridiculous it is. Like, during the load screens, it'll show you some art
Mm-hmm.
and like some kind of a pro tip. And that's how it's been like in all the Duels of Planeswalker games.
Yeah.
I don't even get to see the pro tip because because the loading is so short to begin with. But the fade in and fade out takes so long that like it's like fade in. Okay, here's like a quick glimpse of the pro tip. It's fading out again. Why even have this stupid transition to begin with? Just show me. You know, your pretty art with your pro tip. Whatever I don't even need the pro tip. I just want to read it.
Yeah.
I know how to play the game. I just don't tease me with like this big sentence I cannot read in like a fragment of a second.
It's possible that they were planning, since they really seems to be focused on the mobile platform,
Mm-hmm.
that they anticipated the platform to be slow enough to have it take a long time to load, so they would have the time to do those transitions. So it worked perfectly fine on a tablet, but then when you play on a computer, it's just gonna snap right through it.
Another funny thing is, 2014, from what I understand, the iOS version for iPad
Mm-hmm.
crashed all the time. From what I understand, this 2015 does not crash on iPad, but
It crashes on computer.
on PC, it has not crashed for me, but
Okay.
I hear a lot of people online are complaining about crashing for them.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah, like people complain about frame rate issues, obviously because of the whole fade in and fade out.
All
and
those
all
animations.
all these animations that they don't need in the game. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a good-looking game, but like 2014 was fine.
Is there like in 2014? I know that there was, and I think 2013 or 2012, whichever other one I have. I know that you could turn off animations, at least for the games.
Well, that's like the battle animations.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that not affect like the overall like menu system animations
No.
at all either?
No.
They should have a setting for that.
That would help so much.
Or just
I would-
not have it in the first place.
I would like I would get into a game so much quicker than to like, oh man, come on, I'm pressing A. I can tell it says press start. I see that. Come on now. Come on, start the game.
So many poor decisions.
Yeah. And
hopefully they patch it all.
one last thing, before I move on. Like they spent so much time making the game look pretty,
Mm-hmm.
and they have these cinematics throughout the story, but the cinematics look so compressed. Like, I don't know, like is it compressed because it's using the same resolution size of the videos for mobile? That's my only guess. Because
that seems highly likely.
I mean, when you watch a video and it looks compressed and you can see like those squares, like
yeah, you can kind of see like the banding is, I think it's what it's called, where you can see like where colors transition also.
Yeah,
you see, like solid like lines.
That's how all the cinematics look.
That's not very good. Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be because of mobile, because it like for Android and iOS apps, like they have a limit on like 200 megabytes or something.
Like, why couldn't they put high resolution
How big is the
cinematics in-
download for the game?
I can't remember.
Okay, I'm assuming it's not very large. Probably didn't take very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's most likely what it is.
Come on. Come on now.
So they should. That's one thing that I'm always very, very adamant about is with UI design. If you're going to have a game on multiple platforms with multiple input devices, design a version for each input device. Don't just, I mean, unless you can find a way that it works well for all of them, don't just rely on designing, having one designer do like one design and then making it work, especially when you're doing, controller, keyboard, mouse, touch screen, and I'm not, that seems like the only options. But I mean, three different ways of input, and they're all completely different from each other. You can't have the same design working for each one.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've always been very adamant about, like, good UI design. But
Yeah.
it seems like they haven't done that.
Mean, this game's... I don't want to say it's completely disappointing because, like I said, it's fun to unlock the cards. It's fun to make decks.
Yeah.
But it's just really disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. What were they thinking? Why'd they fire Tim?
We should start a petition. Bring Tim back. Bring Tim back.
So, anyways, let's move on. That's enough of me talking about Magic. What time is it right now? 6:20. Whoa. Okay. So, anyways, let's talk about. No, let's not talk about our main topic. We'll talk about DreamHost real quick.
DreamHost.
Because DreamHost, they offer a web service of which offers unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface, unlike Magic 2015. They are optimized to use content managers such as WordPress and Content5, and many more features. All that just for $8.95 US a month. If you use the promo code out of continues, which is one word, no spaces, that shouldn't even be an if. You should use the promo code out of continues, one word, no spaces. It will waive the setup fee and get you a free domain registration. So that is definitely a deal.
Yep, and DreamHost is awesome.
Yep, and you don't need to pay for premium decks or anything. No premium boosters.
Booster packs.
Yeah. $8.95. I mean, that's less money that I spent on
Cheaper than
Magic
Magic.
2015, and I have never complained about DreamHost.
It's a fantastic service.
But then again, I'm comparing hot dogs to Corvettes, so. And so, anyways, a couple quick announcements. iTunes, we can definitely use some iTunes reviews. If you use iTunes, please leave us a review. Any star rating, I don't mind. Just be honest. In iTunes, in a podcast with iTunes reviews with negative or low score iTunes reviews gets more hits than a podcast with no iTunes reviews at all. So it's one of the single most helpful things you can do for the show is leave an iTunes review. If you do not use iTunes or if you already left us an iTunes review, share the podcast on Facebook or Twitter. That would really help out the show. And, just makes the show more fun to have more listeners, writing in and
More interaction.
more interaction. So help the show out, So the other announcement I got is the rapid fire interview questions is now going out to the public.
Oh, right.
To the listeners. If you want to do the rapid fire interview questions, write into podcast@continues.com and answer the rapid fire interview questions. Just a reminder as to what those questions are. Number 1, what is your all-time favorite console? Number 2, name 3 of your favorite franchises, or if it's not a franchise, then single title. Number 3, if you can have lunch with anyone in the video game industry, who would it be? And number 5, Number 4. I am getting ahead of myself. What's one problem with video game industry today? And number 5, one reason why you game. So, again, first question, your all-time favorite console. Second question, name 3 of your favorite franchises. 3, if you can have lunch with anyone in the video game industry, who would it be? 4, what's one problem with the video game industry today? And 5, one reason why you game. This was a suggestion by one of the listeners, Calvin, to have the listeners write in and answer the rapid-fire interview questions themselves. So,
It's a really good idea, actually.
you know, if you want to answer them, go ahead, write in, and I'll read it on the show. Just don't make the answers too long because it's supposed to be rapid fire. You know, I'm not gonna like read your life story, but yeah, go ahead, write in podcast@games.com. So, anyways, let's move on to our main topic.
All right.
Main topic. What we decided to make our main topic is we're gonna go through Reddit r/True Gaming. Let me screen share this real quick so we can like show the questions. And we're gonna basically just look at the headlines and answer them.
Yep. Not gonna read any of the
Yeah.
details. Not even gonna like read the
We're not gonna look at the comments.
no comments, no details of the questions, just the title.
Yep.
And if we take it out of context, it's the fault of the title not being written properly.
Yep. So we're gonna just do, I don't know how many of these. We're gonna do it for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So anyways, what do you think of Video Games, the movie trailer? Is it an accurate depiction of game? Oh, first of all, I want to say I put on new. Let me see if any new one. Oh, some new one did come up. All right.
Yeah,
so,
there were a couple.
there we go. So we clicked on new, and so all right. First question: are gamers more concerned with nostalgia than average? What does that even mean? Than
I'm
average?
assuming like more now than they were before.
You know what? I think the nostalgia is kind of dying off with a lot of people right now because a lot of people are realizing that a lot of those old games suck, or at least we've changed since then.
Well,
Because I feel like if you asked me this question like 5, 8 years ago or so, I'd say a lot of people are very concerned with nostalgia.
yeah.
But like I feel like at this point, people are starting to realize, because a lot of games have been re-released on like Xbox Live Arcade and all this stuff, and they're like, oh, this game is not as good as what I remember it, or it's a little harder than I thought it was.
I personally don't think that there's any less concern or more concern. I think nostalgia just kind of has been a thing that's it's kind of like a natural feeling for most gamers, in my opinion. But I think that developers are taking more advantage of that now than they were before. Because I mean, it's a lot. I mean, a lot of games are being remastered or brought in as HD remakes. I mean, Nintendo does it quite a bit. Recent, like for a while, at least back in the PS3, Xbox 360 era, PlayStation had Shadow of the Colossus and Ico remastered. God of War 1 and 2 remastered, and then now Halo, like the Halo Master Chief Collection is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, a lot of developers seem to be taking advantage of that now than they used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's necessarily any concern about like whether nostalgia has increased. It's just developers are seeing this as another opportunity to take advantage of, either whether that's just to make money, or if it's because they truly want to they want to bring these games back into new generation, because a lot of these games most people might not have played because a lot of gamers are younger, or they new generation, so they might not have had the chance to play these older games, and so they're trying to bring that back.
I'm not trying to like downplay like people's feelings towards nostalgic games, because I mean we still got Shovel Knight just came out recently.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people are really liking that game because it reminds them of NES games like Mega Man and DuckTales and
Yeah.
all that. So I mean, it's still there, but I personally don't think it's as strong as what it was like in the beginning of this previous console generation.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Next question on here. When, if ever, will games or platforms add bandwidth gates for their multiplayer, and how would things change? What's this bandwidth gate? I don't understand.
My only guess is increasing the amount of. I guess increasing the bandwidth of multiplayer games, but
I don't understand this question. I think someone asked a question that they don't even understand. You want to move on?
Yeah, let's skip that
Okay,
one.
what do you think of the video games? The movie trailer is an accurate depiction of gaming. I did not watch that trailer,
Neither did I.
so let's move on. Skinner's Box. Have progression gates and achievement systems gone too far?
I feel that achievements they've kind of become a part of everything now.
Mhm.
I mean, it did kind of pick up with the Xbox 360 and its whole achievement system, and then
It was really
PlayStation.
huge for a while.
Yeah.
Especially Xbox
Mhm.
achievements, because I don't think like trophies or even Steam achievements ever came as close. Especially
Yeah.
Steam achievements. since
Steam
you can-
achievements were recently, like that was like within the last couple of years.
Well, also Steam achievements are easily hacked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think they've gone too far. That's my answer.
I don't think they've gone too far either. But I mean, I'm not a type of person who actually will make the effort to go for achievements. Usually not often.
Mhm.
I mean,
I like them though.
I like them. I mean, it's kind of cool when you get an achievement. It's like, yay, I got something for, I did something. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way to get achievements like some people would.
hmm
So I mean, it's a indifferent thing to me.
On the subject of reboots.
Can't really go
Okay,
into
that's
that.
not a question.
Yes, reboots.
Yes, I agree. Reboots. Okay, what is the state of the RTS genre? The state of the RTS genre is that if you are not StarCraft, then you're not going to exist.
And unfortunately, I think that's what's kind of declining I think the RTS genre is declining.
The
Sadly.
the RTS genre has I feel like the people who are like huge fans of RTS genre have a lot of them have moved on to like MOBAs because that spawned from RTS.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that's why RTS is not as popular as what it used to be.
I think
because
the
of
other
MOBAs.
issue is that with the competitive, esports scene has kind of also taken off,
Mhm.
and I guess the advantage, if you want to think of it as an advantage, that MOBAs have over RTSs is that you have teams
Mhm.
rather than being 1v1. You've got a whole team, and that usually, I mean, that might it requires a different type of strategy because you have to coordinate with other people.
Mhm.
I personally am not a fan of MOBAs. I mean, I don't hate them. I don't really pay attention too much to them. I'm more of an RTS fan.
Mhm.
I would like to see more RTSs come up in the competitive sports or competitive esports area, but sadly, it seems like they're going away from that because I think StarCraft 2 even stopped showing up at MLG, and that MLG is huge.
Mhm.
A huge deal for esports and competitive games, and if StarCraft, the most popular RTS, is not showing up there anymore, that kind of shows a kind of a bad sign for them.
Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of sad. I mean, I would
yeah.
like to see more RTSs come out, but it seems that that's not happening.
It seems like it's either StarCraft. Every once in a while, there'd be a Command and Conquer game in which the quality seems to be declining.
Yeah.
And there's Planetary Annihilation.
Yeah, and that's kind of
coming
it's
out.
very similar to like Supreme Commander
Mhm.
as far as like how you like the mechanics of the game. And I have that, and it's actually pretty fun. I do enjoy it. But my favorite RTS is still Age of Empires 2.
What is the purpose of motion blur? Well, the purpose of motion blur is when you have a console game that has low frame rate, you want to like add some motion blur so it gives the effect that the game looks more smooth.
And that's exactly what movies do. Like, movies are playing at 24 or 30 frames per second, and so if they didn't have motion blur, it would seem very choppy and stuttered.
That was an easy one to answer.
Mm-hmm.
This chump doesn't know what motion blur is for. Come on now. I would like to hear someone's thoughts on Elder Scrolls Online, but from an MMO fan standpoint and not from a fan of the Elder Scrolls series. So
That
obviously,
counts me out.
Yeah, that counts you out, and I'm not a fan of MMO, so that counts me out too. So let's move on. Pay to win.
No, we do not want pay to win.
I don't want to pay, but I do want to win.
Yes, if it was pay or win, that'd be easy.
The crew. Will it live up to expectations or will it crumble? Is there expectations for that game? I don't think there are expectations.
I haven't been keeping up with it.
Like,
so
I feel like no one cares about that game. So, to answer that question, yes, it will live up to expectations because
there are none.
There are none. These questions are so easy. Did I scroll too far?
Possibly.
Where did it go? Yeah, okay. How can one overcome extreme motion sickness while playing first-person view games?
For me personally, motion blur is usually the biggest factor. So if you're playing on PC,
motion blur is the biggest factor for motion sickness.
For me at least.
Yeah.
And so if you're playing on PC and you have the option to turn off motion blur, try that first. That might help. The other thing is
field of view.
Yes, field of view.
It can be on too low because basically a lot of games, especially these days, a lot of games will default to a lower field of view because of consoles.
And they're trying to render fewer or less of the area so that it can render at higher frame rates.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to render all of it.
So like a console game would be like 60 to 70 degrees of field of view.
Usually between 60 and 90.
And you want it around 90 or so.
90 is great. Ideally, what you want is 180 because if you think about it, you still have your peripheral vision.
180, man. When I play a game with,
well, no,
you know how ridiculous a game will look if you put on 100.
I know because everything gets squeezed down. But if you were playing ideally and you had monitors that, if you're playing on PC at least, and you have monitors that go off your side, so you're playing triple monitor display, you want to have 180-degree field of view so that you have your peripheral vision because not having peripheral vision is what can cause dizziness.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you're playing on triple monitors, you'd want to have...
It makes the game look goofy, though.
Right, yeah. If you're playing 180 on one monitor, that's a bad idea.
90 is like the good number for me. That's what I feel like.
Between 90 and 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the game will not give you a number, so...
Yeah, and then you sometimes will have Far Cry 3, which does in points, and it doesn't always land exactly.
Yeah, you got... Sometimes you'll have to play around with it, but I think field of view is... definitely something you want to mess with too.
Field of view and motion blur are my two suggestions.
Hey folks. Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
I'd like to talk about military-based shooters, and if you'd kindly do so, take my academic survey relating to them.
We can talk about military shooters. There's too many of them. It's oversaturated.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna take your survey. Sorry, buddy. Spec Ops: The Line. That's my answer.
Yeah.
What's the difference when criticizing video games for originality versus comic books? Well, the thing is, when you compare video games to comic books, a comic book is going to be a linear experience. It's not going to change. And like if you use like a joke or something, it's gonna work well because it's gonna be well timed and well placed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you use a joke in a video game, like let's say Deadpool, for example, you know, a Deadpool game versus Deadpool comic. His jokes are well timed and well placed, you know, well thought out as to where it's gonna be said in the comics. Now, Deadpool game, he's gonna be reloading ammo and he's gonna say that he's gonna say 1 out of 4 jokes, and he's gonna repeat them every single time he reloads ammo or something dumb like that. So,
yeah, I mean, in terms of originality, I guess That's kind of a very broad question to ask.
Yeah.
Story is a big element. You don't want to be too like cliche. You don't want to rip off all of the the tropes, but there is a saying that cliches are cliches for a reason because they work. And so if it fits in your story or if it fits in your situation that you're writing a comic book or making a game, it works. But
yeah.
don't,
I mean, like, well, as far as originality, I think it's harder to get a story that like fits the gameplay because the fact that okay, how many times are you going to use the story of saving someone in a game? You're saving a person or saving the country or saving the world or saving the universe.
Yeah.
You gotta have something that fits the gameplay, and usually it just happens to be that you're saving somebody or something or in a game.
Yeah.
Now in a comic, it can be whatever. I mean, it doesn't. They're not. The comic might not be about saving people.
Mm-hmm.
Comic might be about zombies, Walking Dead. You know,
Yeah.
it might be about.
That's kind of saving people.
No, that's more like just killing. That's killing people.
Well, you're trying to survive.
It's killing others so that you live.
So saving people as in saving yourself.
I mean, there's more potential for different stories in comics. That's what I'm saying. So next question. How has emergent gameplay altered multiplayer map flow? Well, what the heck is emergent gameplay? I don't understand this question.
Just skip it.
Skip it. Remember the early 90s? Yes, I do. What if Sega won and Nintendo lost? How would gaming be different? Well, first of all, Sega wouldn't have won. But in this imaginary world, this alternate reality, where Sega did not release, a million peripherals for the Genesis, it was Nintendo that did it instead. In this alternate reality, I think the difference would be that how would gaming be different? I don't think it would be that much different because Nintendo kind of lost their hold, after the 90s ended.
Yeah.
Like I don't see.
Well, to be honest, Nintendo is not even winning at the moment.
Yeah,
and
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
They were in the lead with SNES, and then like starting with N64, they started losing as far as having a hold of the console industry.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that Sega has done.
Just real quick, I'm not saying this N64 is bad. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
The one thing that Sega has done is they're not being proprietary anymore. They're working with they're publishing games now rather than making games just for their own console. I think Nintendo can learn from that and possibly because this could be a whole discussion. We've talked about this before on a different podcast, but Nintendo is not taking advantage of their own console. It's not doing well. It's not doing anything like that they expected, and so one thing that they could possibly do is they can stick to their handheld market because that's their biggest thing. Completely ditch the consoles and then start releasing games like Zelda, Mario, Metroid, all these big franchises on other consoles. I think that would probably be a good step for them.
So you think in this alternate universe that's what they'd be doing?
Yeah, because that's what Sega's doing.
All right. Has it become harder to find the right gaming community?
I don't think so. If the community is based on what people like, then it shouldn't be that hard. I mean,
it's not that hard.
If you like a specific genre or you like a specific game, find a community that's passionate about that, and they will more than likely be, similar to how you feel about it too.
Dude, I found a community like a few months ago. I was like, well, are there any Muslims that play games? And it was like muslimgamer.com.
Nice.
The whole community right there. There you go. Not
Perfect.
hard. Okay. Dear video games, comics can change. Why can't you? Thoughts on an editorial from GamerTell. Well, obviously, I didn't read this editorial, and have you read it?
Nope.
Because I just saw this right now.
Yeah, same.
So, let's skip that one.
Okay.
Would any Zelda fans consider Zelda games an RPG? Well, you're a Zelda fan, right?
Yes, I am.
Are they an RPG?
No, I do not consider them RPGs.
I'm not. I would not consider myself a Zelda fan because I never beat a single Zelda game in my
man.
life. But I would say they are action adventure games.
Yes, I completely agree with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not RPGs, and I mean, for me, like an RPG would be, I mean, if you think about it, you're leveling your character, you're focusing on skills, stats, numbers.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers is the key thing that makes an RPG an RPG.
Yeah, and
Numbers.
that's not happening in Zelda because there's no like customization of your character progression.
Yeah.
It's a very linear experience until, I mean, I don't know how the new open world Zelda will be, but Zelda is a very linear experience that gives the option to explore and find, hidden areas on occasion, but it's not like you can do that whenever. You're kind of going on a very specific predetermined path, and generally RPGs don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and other than pretty much leveling up how many hearts you have, which has nothing to do with like the the combat and
Right.
leveling up your character. That's more of the exploration and finding the hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Other than leveling up how many hearts you have, what levels up with Link is the skills and abilities you gain rather than like I'm going to actually level him up and make his attributes better.
It's all based on your actual skill and
Yeah.
your own timing rather than the skill and level of Link.
So no, Zelda is not an RPG. Nintendo needs to ditch the quote, "Would you like to take a break?" end quote prompts. Okay, thank you. What are people's thoughts regarding conflicting mechanics?
I think we would need to read into this one to see what kind of conflicting mechanics he's talking about. So let's skip it.
Mechanics should not conflict with each other. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Mechanics,
That's poor design if it does.
Yeah, mechanics should work well in unison together, not conflict with each other. So yeah, that's my answer. When a multiplayer game is more than just a multiplayer game. Oh man, that's very meta. It's like so what is it now? A single multiplayer game.
Whoa.
That's deep. My thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 4. Thank you.
Staff already gave his thoughts.
Yeah. My spoiler-free thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah. How do we change the misrepresentation of men and women in video games? That's easy. First of all, stop saying that these representations are misrepresentations, because how do you know it's a misrepresentation?
Ooh,
it might be
point.
it might be a representation of someone who you just aren't aware of that exists. That's one thing. Secondly, have better writers.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. And one thing that I had read about was, a lot of people are wondering if, female characters are not written well because it's written by a male character, and then the male sometimes, and then they're just assuming that the male writer feels that they don't understand how, a female character would work because they're not female. And I just think that's, a poor excuse. I mean, a good writer would be able to put any character in any situation and do a good job with that. So, I mean, if you're having a hard time coming up with these situations, then I just think that it's a matter of becoming a better writer. Personally.
Yes. Next question. Kickstarter. Kickstarter video game projects. As a gamer, do you still find them promising or too volatile? Let's skip this one because we're going to talk about one of our news topics is related to this. Do a couple more.
Yep, I think we can do a couple more.
Plague Inc. on iPad. I have not played it. Have you?
Yes.
Okay. Is it acceptable to include such ridiculously priced add-ons? I'd say no, but I have not played the game, so I don't know how ridiculously priced they are.
I don't even think they're that ridiculously priced, from what I remember. I mean, I haven't looked at much of the DLC for the expansion or the add-ons for it, but I thought that they were not outrageously priced. But I can see that, if the mobile market is a very different area. I mean, people will gladly pay, $5 or for a game on Steam or on the Xbox, marketplace or whatever. But someone would hesitate to pay, $3 on the mobile market for a game that might have, same amount of content, same developers, same story. There's this tension, I guess, between the mobile market and pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that someone feels a little anxious or upset that a game on the mobile market has add-ons that cost more than 99 cents, because the mobile market already is, like I said.
So it's only like $3.
Some of they vary in price.
Yeah, I mean $3 doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, because I mean, Plague Inc. is like, if I remember correctly, it's like a $2 or $3 game.
Wasn't like the base game free? I'm pretty sure the base.
Yeah,
is
I
free.
think it is. The base.
Yeah.
It might be. It's been a while since I've looked at.
Because I have it installed on my Nexus.
Okay, so yeah, the base game is free, but then like you buy little add-ons, which are not.
I mean, like
when
this title says ridiculously priced, I was thinking like $20.
Yeah, there's nothing that expensive.
All right. Why is Melee a one-hit kill? Because it's very risky to do. You gotta get up in their face, and while you're running up to them trying to melee them, they can like be shooting you at a safe distance.
Yeah,
That's
it takes
why.
skill and a lot of timing and luck to get to up close enough to do a melee kill.
Why do you think the original Dungeon Defenders was not successful? What changes in Dungeon Defenders Eternity do you think helped the game as compared to the original? Well, first of all, pretty sure the first Dungeon Defenders was successful.
I agree with that.
So that's my answer. Your question's wrong.
You know that saying, how they say that there's no stupid questions? Well, you just asked a stupid question.
That wasn't a stupid question. It was just a wrong question. Your question's wrong.
You must first know the question.
See, his answer's not wrong. His question's wrong. What makes games worth playing? Well, that is a complex question with many answers, and we don't have time.
That could be written, over a span of, multiple books.
What qualifies a game as an RPG? Numbers.
Yeah, numbers.
Leveling up,
progression of your character mostly, and story. Although most games already have progression of story, but mostly progression of your character, numbers, customization, and non-linear. Like, it can't be point A to point B. It has to have as much of a non-linear gameplay as possible.
Oh, I was staring at this question. It's just really goofy. Is having the ability to play as a female character in games debate a fad? So the debate of having the ability to play as female characters, is that debate a fad? Like I had to like stare at that question for a while to even understand what the question was.
Oh man.
Okay, so let's wrap that up.
All right.
I like that segment. What did you think?
I like that too.
It was fun. It was different.
Yeah, I think we should do this like every once in a while.
Yeah, just go through Reddit. Look at the topics, answer the questions. I think it was fun.
I enjoyed that.
Listeners, let me know. What do you think of that segment? Do you want this type of segment to be done more often, where we just go through Reddit and answer the questions, or was this like a total waste of your time? Let me know. podcast@outofkings.com. So, anyways, I'm gonna go to the first news topic. I think this IGN thing's going to start playing.
I don't know why they have that on autoplay. They need to stop doing that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, we talked about Yog Venture last week. Did you listen to the podcast?
I did.
Okay. So we talked about the Yog Venture game was canceled,
Yeah.
and more has come up as far as what's going on. So we learned that an artist got paid $35,000 for 2 weeks of no work.
He must be a happy person.
I mean, there are lots of people who don't even make that much in a year.
Yeah.
You know, you have people working at Walmart, don't even make that much.
Yeah.
They make like a third of that much in a year. And this dude did not work for 2 weeks. So basically,
He made
what
it in
happened,
2 weeks for nothing.
Yeah, artist signed contract for $35,000, and then he gets hired by LucasArts and can't continue working because that would require him to like do the work on his free time. He did not have the free time to do it. There was no clause in the contract on how or why someone can legally stop working on the project, which that sounds like a terrible contract.
I was about to say, whoever wrote that contract did not do a very good job with that. They should have probably gotten, someone in the legal department to take care of that if they were going to sign a contract, especially for that much money.
So Lewis Brindley, who is one of the Yogg's Cast guys, is he the guy with the red hair? I don't know.
No, I think he's Simon. Simon is the one with the red hair. Lewis is the other one.
Okay. So Lewis Brindley, he lost faith in the team after that, requested to manage the rest of the money, which was, the whole funding was $415,000. So he requested to manage the remaining money, the remainder, which was $150,000. He said that he would use that money for the physical rewards and would use $100,000 of that money for hiring a lead programmer, which they still needed. So they did not even have a lead programmer for the project.
Wow.
Yeah, lead programmer was never hired. Polygon tried to reach out to Yogg's Cast on what happened to the money. They said that they are not releasing a detailed statement on what happened. They claim that Wintercool's statement, on all the stuff that I just mentioned, is omitting a lot. They didn't say what it's omitting, but they're just saying it's omitting a lot. And all the monies, yes, they said monies, all the monies was spent on the project. So there's no more monies left. It's all been spent. So yeah, and I think this article might have there's a breakdown of the monies that they were going to spend. $50,000 on physical rewards, $5,000 on software license. What software is that? Unity? Are they spending $5,000 on Unity? I don't know.
Well, it depends on what Unity's licensing.
Yeah, I don't think it's $5,000 for a year. I don't think so.
Or I'm
assuming it's Unity. It could be something else. CryEngine.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
There's this whole breakdown on this article. If you want to look at it, if you're not watching the video, if you're listening to this and you want to see the breakdown, I'll leave a link in the show notes where you can look at this Polygon article talking about all this. I think it's kind of they're not being upfront as to what happened, and they need to be upfront as to what happened because they owe people an explanation. They owe people an explanation as to what happened to their money.
Yeah, I think Yogg's Cast they've changed a lot over the years. I liked them when they first started doing stuff, when they were mainly doing Minecraft videos, and I really liked them back then. But recently, it seems like they've deterred away from doing videos for the whole gaming community and more for profit, because on top of the problems with this game, there was another statement released recently that showed that
The space engineer thing.
Yogscast was getting paid,
Yeah.
and other not just Yogscast, but a whole bunch of others.
They're getting paid for the revenue
Mhm.
for each copy of Space Engineer sold. They got like a certain percentage out of it because they made a contract to talk about the game on their YouTubes with their monies.
They got monies for
They
it.
got monies. Like that's that's at that point when you are getting paid by the game publisher
To say good things about it.
Yeah, to say good things. That is like an ethical line that you have crossed.
Yeah, and that's an instant, turnoff for people, and that's like, okay, if you're going to be paid to say things, like you're not actually giving sound opinions or sound critique, then why should I ever listen
Like
to
they're
the
like,
rest of your
oh, don't
stuff?
worry, we're still objective. We still got objective opinions.
And like, I used to like Yogscast a lot when they first started, but they've changed, and not for the better.
I put down on my notes. I got a side note. Neil Stephenson's Clang Kickstarter. Do you remember that?
I don't actually.
Okay, so Neil Stephenson, are you familiar with who he
Yes.
is? He wrote books like Snow Crash.
Uh-huh.
He had a Kickstarter for a game called Clang, and there was a big deal about this game because it was well, first of all, it was Neil Stephenson. Secondly, the video for the Kickstarter had like a bunch of people built building swords, like blacksmiths and stuff like that. People dressed up as knights fighting each other. And at one point there you can see Gabe Newell in the background making a knife. Like he actually was in the video.
That's cool.
And it was like when I first heard of it, I was like, Neil Stephenson's game sold. But then when he's like explaining the game, I'm like, not sold, because the game was there's no narrative at all. Like he straight up said, I'm not going to be writing a story for this game. It's going to be a multiplayer only sword fighting game.
Chivalry.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he was talking about how it's going to be like the most realistic sword game. Like pretty much. Have you seen Blade Symphony?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, from what it looked like, it's supposed to be like Blade Symphony, except you're going to be using a proprietary motion controller.
So they're going to make you buy
a motion controller to play the game. Yes.
Oh, man.
So it was supposed to be like the most authentic sword fighting experience. I was... this is what last week I was saying. When you really like somebody, don't just jump on the boat and like back them for whatever, because like I just mentioned, Neil Stephenson, yeah, awesome, sold. Oh wait, this game has nothing to do with why I like Neil Stephenson. No, I will not back your game.
That seems a little shady.
And then eventually the game got canceled. I don't know what happened to the money, but the game got canceled. He was not.
Did they was their Kickstarter successful?
They had a successful Kickstarter.
Huh.
I don't know what happened to the money though. I don't know if he refunded them or what.
Hopefully he did, because otherwise it'd be the case of that game Towns on Steam, when they're like, yeah, we're not developing this game anymore, and it's still early access, and they're like, by the way, we're not giving money back to the people who bought it.
Oh wow, they gave up on the game?
Yeah, Towns was canceled, and it's still early access. At least I haven't heard any news about it, so I might not be updated on that. But
yeah, one thing that both this Yog Venture and Neil Stephenson's Clang have in common is neither projects had a lead programmer.
See, that's like the first thing you should find before you even make an announcement of it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a programmer,
you should have like a whole team.
Yeah, like the whole team.
You should have a team.
Yeah.
Like set up and ready to go when you have an announcement or a Kickstarter to get going.
Kickstarters, like, there was a time when, especially with like the the Double Fine adventure game. When they started, they had nothing, but that was the first big Kickstarter game, and it was because of
but they had a team though.
Right, but I mean they didn't have didn't have a direction, they didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
They're just like, we want to make a game. Would you like to support us? We don't know what the game's about. We don't know what we're gonna do yet. We're just gonna make a game.
But the things to add on eventually, like voice acting, they add that on. I think something like a voice actor, that's something you can add later on to the project. Unlike programmers, artists or 3D modelers, game designers, some kind of audio technician.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, there was a time when it was acceptable to have a Kickstarter and nothing to show. And that was because that was like the first, Double Fine was the first big one to do that, and it was like testing new waters. But it's come to the point where if you have a Kickstarter, or you're putting a game on Steam Early Access, or you're getting something out there for people to support you with their own money, you should have something to show. You should not have it should not be before a prototype. It needs to be after a prototype's already been built. You need to have a working prototype at least, so that people can see what the game is like. If you don't have any of that, then that just means you don't have the team set up. You don't have an actual direction in mind. You're not really. It just comes down to, we want to make a game, so pay us, and so that we so we have the money now, and rather than we're dedicated to make this game. It comes off as a different message.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move on.
Yep.
I just noticed the time. We better get rolling. This other news article I want to talk about, League of Legends. So basically, there was a it was called the official European Challenger Series, which is like placement to get into the tournament. I think that from what I understand, that's what it is. So it's like an officially held game, officially sanctioned game to get into a tournament.
So it's like placement.
Yeah, placements. Yeah, that's why it's placements to get into the League of Legends Championship Series. So the the European Challenger Series winners of that go into the League of Legends Championship Series, which I think is worldwide rather than just European.
Yeah.
So anyways, one of the teams got fined for trolling. Basically, European team H2K Gaming, they got fined $300 for exhibiting unsportsmanlike behavior. And basically what this article says is that they were basically so much in the lead. They were swamping this other team, just smashing them, and then they just started doing things to like showboat afterwards, during the match, what's it say? Okay, they had a clear lead on their opponent, but purposely built ineffective items on their champions, such as building a melee item for a mage and wasting summoner spells that have high cooldown times while alone. I don't really know what that means.
I'm not a League player,
but basically, from what I understand, they were winning so much that they were able to, show off to them, hey, look, we're doing these crappy techniques.
Yeah.
And we're still beating you. So Riot fined them $300. My personal opinion is showboating is unacceptable in any sport.
Yes.
I like watching UFC. And I used to really like Anderson Silva, who for the longest while people would say is the greatest in the world. He was like unmatched as far as his stand-up striking.
Yeah.
And there was one fight that really turned me against him, where he was going against Damian Maia, and he had a grudge with Damian Maia because Damian Maia said something about him, outside the fight. So Anderson Silva was dancing in the ring, like he was like literally dancing, and he was as Damian Maya is trying to hit him, and he could not hit him. So he is like dodging. You miss. He's dancing around. You miss. And
Oh man.
it was so disgraceful that Dana White, you know who Dana White is?
I'm not too familiar.
President of the UFC.
Hmm.
He usually puts the belt around the champion
Yeah.
after they win. This is a championship fight.
Yeah.
He did not put the belt around him. He gave it to his manager. He's like, you do it. He was so angry. It was disgraceful.
Yeah.
Like, just because you can do something does not mean you should.
Yeah.
And I think good sportsmanship is really important quality to show while playing a game. And just like how I was unhappy with Anderson Silva, in a sport that I like to watch, I think doing that kind of behavior in a game, in a sanctioned tournament, that shouldn't be allowed either. It's like when you're playing a game and the opponent becomes so over leveled that they start spawn camping you.
Yeah.
And you cannot come out of the spawn because they refuse to finish the game, and they would rather like wait outside your spawn so that they'll instantly kill you as soon as you come out.
Yeah.
That's just get it over with. Don't be a jerk. I saw a lot of people in the comments like, oh my god, Riot just wants money. It's like $300, dude.
That's not gonna get them very far.
Yeah. That's what Riot needed. They needed $300. They're saved for the rest of the year.
They've met their yearly records. They're good to go.
It's grow up, man. They're not doing this for the money. They're doing this to like make a point.
Yeah.
If you want to make esports a real thing, which Riot has been, like, they've been in the front lines as to like pushing esports, and I totally am behind them as far as making sure the teams act accordingly.
Yep. Agreed.
Got anything else on that?
Nope, not really.
All right, let's go to listener feedback. Let's turn off this screen sharing and show us again. Why'd my cursor move? Did you see how far that cursor moved when I just clicked?
Yeah.
There we go. Bam!
Hello.
Okay, so we got some listener feedback. We got Tim writing in.
Hey, Tim, go be on Magic programming again. They need you.
I see what you did there. No, this is not Tim the programmer. This is Tim, who is listener. Yes. He wrote in last week. So last week, he wrote in shortly after I recorded, so this did not make it to that show. Quick one here, but you guys are all pronouncing Arieth wrong. The two syllables sound like Airith, soft th sound, not Arieth or Arius. No, you're wrong, dude. It's Arius. I'm totally right, man. I know I'm being a jerk. As for Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, the writing was pretty good, but the gameplay was pretty buggy, especially in the DLCs. Several times I found myself stuck outside the game's boundaries, including literally just jumping through a corner of the room in the Hammerlock DLC and getting teleported under the floor in the Tiny Tina one. I'm looking forward to Tales of the Borderlands a lot more than the pre-sequel myself.
I never had any bugs or glitches when playing the DLC. I thought that the writing was definitely better in Borderlands 2 over... Borderlands 2 was just a better Borderlands in almost every way except for the UI.
Keep talking. I'm
And
trying to find some.
and you know, like as far as gameplay goes, it was definitely much more polished. Combat felt better, and there was more unique designs of the weapons. Although I know there was a lot of issues with not much variety with the weapons. But I thought, you know, just in general, Borderlands 2 was everything that Borderlands 1 was good and just did it better, except for UI. I'm not too excited about the pre-sequel. It doesn't seem like it's something that's I'm focusing on, for me at least. It's more of a filler, just a spin-off that I'm not too interested in. I might eventually pick it up just mainly for the story to see, you know, like how it's kind of Handsome Jack's backstory and like how he came to be who he is in Borderlands 2. But
Here we go. I found it.
Tales of the Borderlands does look Tales from the Borderland.
Okay, so I'm gonna screen share this. Screen share. Okay, so let me make this go full screen. Get rid of my annotation. Okay. Let me mute this also. We don't need it. All right, so this is me playing with one of my friends, Borderlands 2. You know, as you can see, I'm getting a vehicle, and it's in the floor. Why is that in the floor?
That's
What is going on, vehicle?
weird.
Let me teleport inside that vehicle. Okay. Oh no, what is happening? What is happening to me? Oh no, I'm like halfway in the floor. I'm trying to drive. Whoa, whoa, why is it sliding? What's happening to my life? So then I get out of the car, and I'm like, okay, goodbye, car. So I'm walking, and check this out. This is amazing. It should happen any second at this point. Oh, we're gonna get another car. This is what we're doing. Okay, so we're getting another car. We're deploying a new one. It's not there. And where is it? Let me get inside it. I'll teleport. Oh no! I'm falling through the world.
I have never had that happen to me. That is strange.
I'm falling through the world. And then I get out of the car. Okay, get out of it. I get out of it. Okay. I'm eventually gonna get out of it. Oh, I'm shooting the blades first. Trying to see if they go through the ground, see if my friend sees them. So I get out of the car. The car drops faster than me.
It's heavier.
And yeah. So I'm like endlessly falling. So this is my own video footage. So I'm allowed to show this on YouTube because this is my own.
Yeah,
video footage.
I've never had that happen to me. I don't even recall any glitches at all from when I played.
Well, that makes you special.
Yeah. I'm just special.
So, okay, Tim also writes in this week. He's like, I finally remembered one thing I wanted to mention since you guys were talking about Apogee games. The original Wolfenstein hero, Commander Keen, and Doom guy all had the same last name and were implied to all be in the same continuity. Mostly, though, we need a Commander Keen reboot since both Doom and Wolfenstein have had theirs. Regarding Suda51 and bad gameplay, apart from Killer 7, the only bad gameplay he puts out is in the mini games he puts into larger games. The actual games, i.e. levels and fight mechanics of normal heroes like Pop Chainsaw and Killer's Dead, were well executed and very fun. Lollipop Chainsaw doesn't have a distinct minigame in it, so it might be why it's considered his best game. Suda might just suck at making minigames. In general, this is also entirely possible, except for the ones in No More Heroes 2, which were homages to classic video games. I don't think any minigame he's added to his game has added to the experience. Tim. Also, Smash Brothers is a fighting game. Tim, I believe you want to take this outside.
Uh-oh.
This guy is clearly talking smack. he wants to take the gloves off. Unfortunately, we gotta like move on because we're on a schedule and we gotta really go. But you're wrong about the Smash Brothers. About Commander Keen though, I think if Apogee were to make a Commander Keen game, uh, it would have to be. I don't see them like just putting one out.
Mm.
I would see them doing it like that Gianna Sisters game or the newest um, Shantae game that's going to be coming out. Like they do a Kickstarter for it.
Yeah.
Because to do a 2D platformer these days,
Kind of have to have a very dedicated audience for that.
yeah. So I don't see them just doing it.
Yeah.
Like I would see them having to do like some kind of Kickstarter to, one, make sure there's enough of an audience for the game, and two, make sure that it's not a project that it's going to go to waste.
Right. Yep.
If people are going to fund it, then it's like, okay, we'll go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Smash Bros. Is not a funny game. Okay. Calvin writes in. As I mentioned before, Calvin asked if listeners can do the rapid fire interview questions. So I told him go for it. So he wrote in with his answers, and let me get those back on my screen real quick. There we go. So Calvin, first question: your all-time favorite console? He says the N64. As the youngest of four, I had two older brothers that got most of the gaming consoles before, and I wasn't able to play unless they let me. When my parents bought me the N64 for myself, I finally was able to enjoy games without worrying about my brothers. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, name three of your favorite franchises. He says Legend of Zelda, Mega Man X, and Final Fantasy, with the exception of the 13 trilogy. So that's a pretty old school set of games. Nice. If you can have lunch with anyone in the video game industry, who would it be? And he says Hiroshi Yamauchi. So obviously, Calvin has the ability to talk to spirits. Next question. What's one problem with the video game industry today? And he says one problem is that they have become way too popular. What he means is, it sounds weird, but it is the reason why politicians use it as a medium for debate, to push their careers. SJWs, feminists, and other groups like them are trying to control it. Also, why so many people who are not really gamers try to claim that they are to boost their careers. Not too sure what he means about that last one.
Well, I think in general, I don't know if I necessarily. I think a better way to phrase that would just be, and it's not necessarily that it's popular, it's that it's become an industry for profit.
Well, like, I mean, that last statement, I'm assuming he means like Olivia Munn, who like became who her sole reason why she became famous was because she was on G4.
Yeah.
And other than that, like, she has nothing else going on. Well, like, she's in stuff now, like she's in movies now, I think.
Yeah.
But like her career was pretty much, it came from video games. So that's what I'm assuming. That's what he means. I'm pretty sure Calvin will probably write in and tell me I'm completely wrong, and that fighting games are. I mean, Smash Bros. Is a fighting game as well. One reason why you game, and Calvin says, just like people read, I enjoy stories. It's hard for me to sit down for more than 10 minutes and read a book, but it's way easier to be a part of an interactive story. So some read, I game. And, that is one reason why I got into comics, because I can't really sit down and just read a page full of text.
Mm-hmm.
I used to read a bit, like when I was younger, but like I noticed how I read slower than my fellow students,
Hmm.
like in 2nd grade. I see kids zoom by, and I'm like, I'm still on this page. And it's not that I don't know how to read.
Yeah.
I do know how to read, obviously. It's just I just read slower.
Mhm.
And also head hurts after a while.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't need glasses either. It's just, I don't know. I got into comics. I like comics. So, anyways, thanks, Calvin, for writing in. I appreciate it. If anyone else wants to write into podcast@continues.com. If you want to answer the rapid fire interview questions yourself, go for it. You're open to do it. I will read your answers. Hopefully next week I'm not like on such a strict schedule that I gotta like wrap things up so quick. So, anyways, shout outs. Nathan Becker, also known as Ectogemia, ECTOGEMIA, Facebook.com/Ectogemia, SoundCloud.com/Ectogemia. He did the intro song for Out Continues. He also did the soundtrack for Beware the Bully, which is my game, and I'm going to wrap up the show with a song from Beware the Bully. So the song is by him as well. Any other shout-outs?
Nope.
All right. If you enjoy what you've been hearing, support us by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, leave an iTunes review. You can contact by email at podcast@outofcontinues.com. All these can be found on the website, www.outofcontinues.com. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/outofcontinues. You can also give me a tweet. I am at Sayedstafa. That's at SAYEDSTAFA.
And I am at KS Trehan. That's at KSTREHAN.
I'd like to thank my guest host for joining me today, Kevin.
Thanks for having me on your show again.
Thanks for not canceling on me.
You're very welcome.
And with that said, I'm your host, Staff. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.
I'm glad that I didn't get the phone call because you probably wouldn't beast out.
I would have tried.